This is the EDUlivestream show found on EDUlivestream.com, featuring your host, CEO Henry Platten from GoBubble.School, and me, Bobbie Grennier, supervising teacher for the Pajaro Valley Unified School District's Virtual Academy. The EDUlivestream show is all about education, being kind, and making a difference. Let's get started. Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to EDUlivestream.com. And today you've just got me because Henry got called away at the last minute and he had some stuff going on that he had to take care of that was just a scotch important. So you know what? We're picking it up here with our guest today. Let me bring him in. I'm not going to even wait because he's on his lunch break, sorta, and we're not going to waste any time. So I want to bring in Ben Cogswell. Hi, Ben. How are you?
Hey, how you doing today? Good to be here.
I'm doing great, and I hear you're doing so great.
Yeah, well, today I'm here a little sick at home, but we're plowing through things, so it's all good. I'm just happy to be here with you. I got my my sparkling water, and so we're ready to rock.
No worries, Ben, and you take care of yourself and take care of your needs, whatever. All right. So Ben and I live here kind of in the Central Coast, in the Monterey Bay area, and we're having an amazing springtime, but everything's in bloom right now. And if you have allergies of any kind, it's just blowing up like crazy right now. So Ben's a little bit under the weather, but he kept his promise to be here with us. So
yeah, and maybe I didn't even think about it. I'm sorry for interrupting the blooms. You're totally right. I got to make sure to take my allergy medications, and I'm sure tomorrow we'll be back to normal.
Yeah, I know, and we've had some winds here a little bit that we're not really used to this time of year. And yeah, it's just kind of everybody's dealing with a lot of allergies and sinusy issues, and that's really not what everybody wants to hear about today. So
No.
let me take us into education world a little bit. Ben, I'm gonna confess something to you. I am a big Coach Ben fangirl. So I have been following your career probably, I'd say, the last 4 or 5 years. And I remember when you were a Tectosa, for the Alisal School District. And I just want to thank you personally for all the help that you put out there for educators, because at the time I was coming back into teaching, and I needed to learn how to use the technology. But when you're not in teaching, a lot of that technology is actually not available to you to be able to get your hands on it, to learn it, like Google Classroom and things like that. And just the videos and the help information and the newsletters that you guys put out really helped me. And I have to think that there's other teachers out there that are, standing in the same shoes that I am, just owe you a big debt of gratitude. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. And I'm super excited about what you've done for everybody, but I'm super excited about what you're doing these days. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, sure. First of all, you can't tell probably because of the lighting, but you definitely made me blush a little bit. So thank you for doing that. It's always nice, to a lot of time you share these resources and things out here with people, and you never know, what's going to make an impact. So it's always nice, and it just encourages me to really keep on sharing. And I'll let the Alisal Edtech department, shout out to them because they're continuing to do a wonderful job. So I guess if you don't know me, I'll give you a little background. Bobbie, you did a great job. And for years, I didn't realize you were in Watsonville until, like, I don't know, probably this year,
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, she's so close, you know. But I was a former sixth grade teacher. I don't know if you knew this. I was a former sixth grade teacher before I was a technology TOSA. And so I just kind of happened to fall into this role where I was asked kind of by our superintendent to apply and give it a go. And, it was really cool. But I think what we're here to talk about now is really my most current role. So after being a technology TOSA for I always forget if it's 3 or 4 years, I entered back into the classroom just because I feel like that's kind of where my heart really was. I love working with teachers, but, I became a teacher really to work with students. And so for these last, I guess, 3 years, I've been working with kindergartners whom are known as the Kinder Rockets. And so I know I always love seeing lately, Bobbie, you've been doing your tweets with NASA and your sunspot cookies. And so those have always been fun to see it. But it's just been really just such a great journey these last 3 years.
Well, Ben, you and I kind of did the same thing. I had taught like high school and junior high a long time ago, and then I went off into the tech field for like 25 years. And then I decided, it was time to retire from that and come back to my first love, which was teaching. And so, I re-entered teaching like at the fifth grade level, did some third grade, and then just this year, I stepped into a position that's 100% virtual at our new virtual academy over here in Pajaro Valley Unified School District. And like you, went from working mostly with like upper grades, upper elementary, and then boom, I've got littles right now. And you're smiling because you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a huge difference in working with them, and my gosh, the love that they give is just so amazing. And not that the older kids don't give you love too, but it's different. And so Ben, some of what I've been doing this year was inspired by you, straight up. And part of that was because I started looking around and saying to myself, why aren't we teaching technology to these little guys? They can do it. And so that's essentially, I started doing this live streaming. And I know that you're super interested in all of this. So anytime you want to pick this up, you just tell me. And I couldn't get anybody else to understand what it is that I wanted to do and why I wanted to do it with the little guys. And so I knew that if they could see it, that they could imitate it and do it. And I watched so many of your videos where you're doing kind of that same thing. Can you explain to everybody like how you're going about it? You and I are doing similar things, but yours is just a little different. And I'd rather have you explain it than me.
Well, it's definitely been, and it's funny that you mentioned kind of why you were working with littles, because for me, it was a lot of the same thing. When I was a teacher coach, I kept hearing a lot, that either technology was inappropriate for the younger kids and, they weren't able to use it. But, just like anything, I mean, it's not like we're going to sit a kid in front of a computer for hours. It's a little different, of course, now in this virtual environment, but really kind of blending everything together and giving these kids these experiences. And so I guess kind of where the journey really started is, so we're the Kinder Rockets. And the reason we started to be the Kinder Rockets, that was kind of our theme, is because wanting to really shoot through for the moon, having these high expectations. And so that kind of was our name, and it's kind of stuck through these last few years. And a lot of what I'm currently doing really started, I guess, at the beginning of the pandemic, which at this point was over a year ago, and really thinking about what are the ways that we can really engage students when they're at their home, right? Just because we're using technology in their home doesn't mean we still can't make it hands-on or still get them, engaged. And so for me, a lot of it is the first step when we jump back into this thing was getting students engaged, getting family members engaged. And one of the great ways to do this is like you're doing it right now through through live streaming, creating videos, because I guess the amazing thing is, we have this video here, and granted this video isn't for our students, but when we create these videos for our students, I mean, they're available forever, right? And a lot of these kids, I don't know, I feel like that really should be called the YouTube generation, just because even with so I have 4 kids of my own, and my older 3 never had the YouTube app. It wasn't available back when they were there, but my youngest had the YouTube app, and just seeing how he kind of navigates it, right? And how in some ways, it's really just like what you're doing right now. We're creating this content and making it available to to younger kids, and kind of giving them the options to be able to view it and review it and rewatch it as they need to. And I guess that kind of goes to bringing up, my son is meeting our learners where they're at. Are we going to just completely teach them via
Exactly.
YouTube? Of course not, right? But it's definitely a way that we can start interacting with them. And I also like, the fact that it makes us available 24/7 to our students, which in some ways is scary, but if you think about it, it's very powerful. So
I couldn't agree with you more. And, it's sort of like meeting them where they're at. I started this whole concept of live streaming. And it's funny because this little show kind of came out of it as something, to help. I wanted to give back the way you had given to me, and other educators, TOSAs and all of that out there. And so I was evangelizing to my district and all of that about, let's live stream, because in my mind, if they live stream, that YouTube generation, they know how to put that on the big screen TV at home. If they put it on the big screen TV at home, I can teach to them from there, and that frees up their little bitty laptops that they've been given, so that they can actually go in and do the work. And it also enables the entire family then to participate in that student's education. And I was trying to explain to everybody, why this was important and how to do it and all of that. And I finally reached a point, which is I just started a website called EDUlivestream.com to try to explain to other educators exactly, how to do this if they wanted to. And at this point, my district now understands. They're getting it, and now the issue is families are still learning, like, how to cast it to their TV and those types of things. But they don't even want to be on a Google Meet with me anymore. They don't even want to be with me, one-on-one live anymore. They want me to stream it. They want me on YouTube. My kids love it, and they all show up and participate in the live stream. And then, just like you were saying, I record everything, so then I immediately give them the replay link if they missed it. We have a situation at our school where the learning is independent, and they can do it when they want. So if they don't show up, they don't want to, something else is scheduled, or the family's out traveling or whatever, they can have their life and then come and watch me. So they have the option of, you want to watch me live and interact with me live, or you can, you watch it like a video. But I'm definitely doing exactly what you're saying, trying to meet them exactly where they are, where they live, in a way that's easy for their family and allows them more accessibility to the tools, to those little computers. I don't know if you guys have itty bitty computers, but ours are small.
I mean, I wouldn't say I guess they're a normal Chromebook size, right? But I never
Yeah.
really had thought about that. It really kind of hit home to me, honestly, of the size that they're looking at when the students came back. Because we went back about I don't know, about 4 weeks ago. It's hard with COVID time, right, to really be able to judge sometimes, right? But I do my hybrid current teaching, and so the way I kind of started to do it was I had some kids at home and I had some kids at school, and rather than just sticking the kids at home in the computer and then the kids at school were just at school, I just decided, we're all going to be in the Google Meet together. We're so used to being in the Google Meet together. The kids at home didn't feel like as much a part of the class. The kids at at school couldn't hear as well. You got tons of audio issues, but definitely started walking around and noticing, their screens are definitely a lot, smaller than I anticipated. So I love this idea of kind of putting yourself up on the big screen and freeing up, their computers to do something else. Because I mean, for me, a lot of it started is like how many people have access to YouTube nowadays? How many people have access to Facebook, right? I mean, probably more people have access to YouTube, whether it's on their TV, whether it's on their smart TV, whether
Yeah.
it's on their cell phone, right? And so just those ways of being able to reach people, not necessarily like the traditional way, but definitely a powerful way. And even then, I was thinking about just some of the other benefits of it. Just the fact that it's going to be amazing. Like if my YouTube channel with these videos for these kids is still around 20 years later, these kids are going to be able to come back and just these memories. It's a whole school year of memories that's been created. And just what can we learn with that, and for me now is the challenge is how can we continue to do some of these things moving forward, right? Because we're going back into our classrooms, we're getting more back to school as normal. So how can we make sure to things like accessibility, like you're saying, how can we continue to do it, I guess, in a sustainable way, and also make it I don't know, want to say more enticing for other people, but like you're saying, not everybody always sees, the benefit of some of these things and the tools, unless they've experienced it firsthand, I guess sometimes.
Well, I know, like I only had a couple of kinders this year because, like, for us, I have kinder through third grade, so I have quite a range to cover. Um, but I turned both of them on to like your YouTube channel because their parents were looking for curriculum to supplement with, and so I know that my kinders watched, your class and participated in what you guys were doing right along with you. There's no reason, I know you well, they didn't necessarily watch your daily check-in ones, which
Hmm.
are brilliant by the way, but
Thank you.
they watched, some of the other videos you did. And for anybody out there listening, you have to see his kids do the baby shark. That's like my favorite. Mine,
Yeah, the wear your mask.
yeah. In the I think
Yeah,
it's
that
your
was
front
fun.
driveway. It's just
It's in my front driveway, yeah, and we're doing our
that
baby
one.
shark parody, right? It was about wear
Yeah,
your mask, do, and getting kids ready to go back to
yeah.
school, right? In an interesting and fun way. So
It was super fun, and my kids loved it. I loved it too. It's like that one's in my head. So, um, anyhow, yeah, I'm doing. I decided I had to make a decision on what I was going to do. Was I going to do something like you with a daily check-in kind of thing? And I hear what you're saying about it'll be there for them, on into the future. But as far as being able to tap into it ongoing, I decided to go with like virtual adventures and doing tech for littles, and then developing on those topics, and then I can recycle those and like right now I'm over. Henry has a his the name of his business is called Go Bubble, and for people who don't know about it, it's like amazing because it has um, an AI interface that screens out any bad words, any bad content, pictures, videos, so the kids can communicate freely with each other without uh, having to have like one of us teachers, interact with it because it has this net nanny capability. And actually, Henry and I are working together because I'm begging him for something, for the littles, more for the littles and things that I can use in the live streams and all of that. So he's working on some stuff for us. Um, because right now, like for the littles to be able to use that kind of stuff, they need like text or speech to text capabilities and things like that can help them so they can communicate. But how fabulous! Like our classes could be communicating with each other, or you could be communicating, globally with a huge group of kindergartners, and I've started doing that in his realm with these virtual adventures, and because he has students all over the whole world. There's schools that I mean it's a huge company, so um, there's a lot more outreach than just even our own little neighborhood here. And I know that, like, I've seen that you've been out there, like with ISD and, other um, other entities that you've gone and done a lot of evangelizing, public speaking, about working with the little guys, and I know you're very well received as a result of it, because it is definitely a topic that's needs more, uh, more folks like you, and that's kind of like I said, you did inspire me to, I've got all this tech knowledge, bring it and use it, pay it forward.
Well, it's good, right? I mean, it's just the way, we just look at, I feel like teaching as a system as a whole, right? And we think about how over the last 100 years or 50 years, how much we've changed as a system with what's kind of going on around us. And so hopefully just kind of continuing to move forward, right? It's so easy to get into that teaching, like, oh, I'm going to teach the way I was taught, right? And we kind of just get into these circular systems, and it's good to take some of those best practices, right? Because there's some
Yeah,
great things, right, that we don't want to throw out, right? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
exactly.
um, but just giving these kids some of these access, and it's always, I love connecting, especially with other K through 2 educators that are passionate about using technology, because I always get, great ideas. I mean, there's no one way, there's no one right way to use it, right? There's so many different, and that's what I love about it. You can just be so creative with all the tools you have. And, I might be using one tool one way, and you could be using the same exact tool in a completely different format. And so it definitely is great to be able to share and connect and get some ideas, right? Because just like, your edu ventures, it's awesome that you found, right, that those adventures that kind of work for you and then work for your students, right? Because that's really what it's about, is we have these tools now, how can we make them work for our students, right? And so it will definitely be interesting again this year, because these kids are now going to, like, kindergartner, every year getting a fresh batch, right? So these kindergartners now are starting out, and just the experience they went through with, having to use technology, whether it's in Google Meet or whether it's in their, Seesaw, and going forward, right? It'll be interesting to see kind of where they end up. And, now the next group of kindergartners is going to be in a completely different situation, where they're going to be starting again from ground zero, which in some ways is exciting, right? In some ways it's always, all right, here we go again. Just getting them to log in the beginning, that's the biggest battle.
Oh my
you know.
gosh, yes. Or just to sit down and be calm just enough to like learn a little something at the computer. But and it's really amazing to see them at the end of the year. They're I just had to do some. We just finished our kinder screening, which is the end of the year testing for the kinders, and I had this one mom was really trying to help him from home, and he just peeled her right off. He's like, "I got this, mom. I'm doing it on my own." And in that moment, mom's walking down the hall with a tear because her little boy has, made that step into growing up. But it's amazing the growth that did happen over the year. And you're right. And you know what? I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater, because I think the expectations now have changed. Those kids are not going to want to go back to no technology. And I know there's educators out there that I've heard them actually say, man, when I get back in the classroom, I'm not touching anything tech for a year. Well, that's not the right attitude. You still have to embrace it. You don't have to use it all the time, but I think what you did is the smartest way to go about it. I've heard a lot of different educators talk about how to use the technology in the class. I know over here, the county office, they brought in a gentleman who was talking about basically opening up your laptop, and as you move through the room, have one group that's on your laptop and you've got them on the TV, and I'm thinking, can you imagine like fifth or sixth graders? You know what they're gonna do, and they're gonna be talking to each other because they can see each other, you know, on the computer screen and the TV and all of that. And no, that's not gonna work. What you did, get them all on the computer together, and you know, you've got those kids live that you can help in person, and they can be communicating what they're experiencing to the other kids that aren't there in person. And it's more of a direct one-on-one than a focus on the teacher. It's now a focus on the students, and I just think that that's a better, somebody will shoot me for saying that probably, but I think that that was the better way to handle the situation, because you really had to bring both worlds together. And I think that, you know, coming back into the classrooms in the last few months, I think the educators have stepped up once again. And, you know, when you thought that there weren't any more hurdles to overcome, that was a huge hurdle. What are we going to do with part of the time the kids, you know, aren't with us? Part of the time I've got some of them while I'm trying to teach the other ones at home. And oh my gosh. So,
Honestly, I feel like it was, excuse me for interjecting. I feel
oh,
like it was harder to come back. And I feel like other
yeah,
people feel the same. It was harder to come back to the classroom, right, than make the adjustment for a lot of us, right? And so I know that's why a lot of people, you know, are ready to get their battery recharged, I guess, for summer break, for those of us that are lucky to have it or not teaching summer school. But definitely it's very challenging.
super. And you know, we didn't have that issue. I had a whole different experience this year than the other teachers, and I'm on a teacher advisory committee for EdSource, and it's been really interesting, this journey. I'm listening to other teachers talk about the hurdles and the problems that they faced this year, and because I'm in a completely virtual school, I mean, this is our world, and we aren't having to do all those things that other educators are doing. And so my hat is off to all of you. I just, it's amazing. What I mean, teachers are just amazing people in general. Um, so what do you have planned? You got anything, any thoughts about the future, or you know, what anything you're going to change as you move forward?
It will be interesting. Definitely. Next year we're looking to go to full day kinder. The way we've done it in our district for a lot of years is we have kind of like, it's more than a half day, but you have like group A that
Yeah.
comes, right? And then group B comes, and group A is by itself for like an hour. And then you're there all together with like 25, 26 students, or even up to 30, right? And then group A leaves and you have group B. And you know, that was all with no aid, just us as the teacher. So next year we're looking to go into either full day, you know, kindergarten. And so, you know, in some ways that's really exciting, because when I had them only for kind of like that half day or half plus day, there wasn't as much stuff you could do. I guess you couldn't fit as much into the day. And so I'm looking forward to being able to have a little bit more time to kind of be able to I guess do more with the students, and just continue. It's always trying to figure out what's next, like, you know, connecting them globally to another, you know, classroom, or those things that, you know, sometimes they seem so simple to do, but it can be challenging for a lot of different reasons. And just continuing to, I guess, really, you know, use our technology to make the learning, like I think George Curious, I said this morning, right? Something about it, one of his quotes about technology, you know, is not going to kind of transform, you know, the teacher, but, you know, with in the hands of a teacher, it can be transformational, something along those lines. I'd have to
Yeah.
look it up again, but so I guess it's always a new adventure, and we'll really kind of see once we get there. But I'm hoping to be able to kind of continue some of what I'm doing with, you know, sharing and creating the videos. Obviously, it's a lot harder when you're in the classroom 100%,
Yes.
but figuring out how to kind of continue to do some of that stuff, to continue to give, you know, family access, students access, and you know, the greater kindergartners out there across the kinder rockets that aren't inside the classroom.
So I would think it'd be a little more difficult for you. So if for folks who haven't seen Ben, you definitely want to go check out his YouTube channel. I'll put some links up here in a second, and I've got them down below here on YouTube on my channel. Um, he uses his kids, his own family, and his wife. Your wife is amazing. Yeah, that ukulele, I love it. So, and that's the kind of stuff like you could do from home, where I would think like moving forward, that's going to be more difficult, the live experiences. But it does seem like, there, you could maybe do things with the children if your school district allows you to, use, uh, video them with
Hmm.
permission and all of that. I know districts are a little bit nervous about that, but I
Our
don't.
district's pretty good. Yeah, our
Are
district's
they?
pretty good as long as we have parent permission. We have parents sign a form every year, and then as long as just like personal information, right? Don't You can share their first name in their picture, but not their first and last name, things like that, and you have to have parent permission. So definitely figuring out some ways, right? To that's and I was even thinking about trying to do some of that this year when we went back to the classroom, but because they were in the classroom for such a short period of time, it made it kind of difficult to do, of course, all the things you want to do. But yeah, and Dean, definitely kind of continuing some of that, whether it's maybe some of the art projects or some of the other
Yeah.
things that you can do and you can make accessible. Because really, I mean, if you think about it, if you're doing something under the document camera and your students can see it, well, it's almost sometimes, well, if we're going to do this just for our students, why can't we do this for everybody? And even if it's just as simple as sometimes getting your cell phone out and giving it to a student and saying, hey, we're going to do this thing real quick, I want you to hit the record button. Always a little bit worrisome, but
I wouldn't do that live, but
yeah. So sometimes you
that's
have to
what.
decide whether to do pre-recorded or live, but I guess you just kind of see, right? Definitely. But I think the point is getting it out there and making it more accessible to the general audience, or making those global connections, even if it's just with other kids, right? And so
Yeah,
highlighting that.
even next year, like because in my mind, like I'm doing, let's say, the virtual adventures, every kindergarten class can use that. They can tap that if the teachers want to put it up there, or give it out to their families or whatever. Homeschooling families can tap it. It's out there. So yeah, maybe I know I watch the things that you put out, and when they're applicable over to my families, I share them. um, so, maybe get more folks like us doing more things and putting it out there. And pretty soon, you've got this nice network of teachers who work with littles. And it's, not just getting them going on the technology, but like, even like I did some stuff with the Monterey Bay Aquarium. That's out there. Monterey has it up on their website. The lessons are there. It's not that hard to tap it and live stream about it. It's kind of, it's a little different when you're kind of in a studio environment by yourself doing it, and the kids aren't, like I said, my kids they're real shy. They didn't want to talk. They didn't want to be with me. They made it really clear. They're like, you go and live stream, and we like to participate with you. And so I actually communicate with them just like they're in the room with me. So it's kind of funny sometimes. Anyhow,
It
we're,
definitely takes the right personality, and
yeah,
every year I think when you have, obviously, you only have especially if you just look at your kindergartners, right? When you have 25 kindergartners, you always have one or two that are kind of willing to come up and do that stuff with you. And so
yeah,
definitely, again, some good ideas, and even just kind of staying connected. I thought about all these authors that I was able to get to come and do some read alouds virtually, and maybe again this year, definitely
wow,
towards the end of the year, running lower on energy, but starting to do some more of that kind of stuff next year when it's applicable. And again, feeling like maybe in the all day kinder, maybe there's going to be hopefully a little bit more time and space to do some of those more creative projects, because I feel like sometimes, it's so hard to, as I think, to fit everything in, and you really have
yeah,
to prioritize, right? And sometimes, right, those projects that are a little bit more fun don't get the the time they need, or maybe the attention they quite need to be as spectacular as they could be. So, definitely already giving it's nice, right, to start thinking about next year and already getting some of that energy back, for sure. So I definitely appreciate chatting with you, and you refilling my tank as well. So thank you.
No worries there, Ben. You have really knocked it out of the park, and you set the bar high for the rest of us. Um, and it's just sort of thinking about like what can I do that helps? What can I do alongside what you're already doing? And then, seeing how I know you're going to have to change a little bit because, like you said, you're going to be 100% back in the classroom. So it'll be interesting to see, what you come up with, or if other folks want to step up alongside you and do some projects together. Feel free to tap me if you come up with some great things. I mean, Ben and I only live like an hour apart, so yeah. And I just sort of decided to go for it this year. I've been kind of lurking in the background and all of that. I just got my Google trainer status this year, and so kind of that was for me the stepping stone to say, okay, it's time for me to step up now and be out there. Even though I'm not a TOSA, I'm a regular teacher, well, sort of a regular teacher. In my situation, it's a little different because we're like homeschooling on steroids is really,
Hmm.
it's like you get a homeschooling, the whole program, and then you get a teacher along with it. So it's phenomenal getting to work one-on-one with the not only the children, but their parents in families, and the results have just been mind-blowing. So I have to look at that too. What are the needs? You kind of have to look at what are the needs in your school, and then how can I expand that to fit a greater community.
Definitely would agree with that 100%.
So let me see here. I'm gonna show show folks your I put your bio on the YouTube stream where we are right now, and Ben has stuff. He's got several websites. He's got CoachBen.org, and he has Kinder Rockets World, um, and then he's got stuff up there on Seesaw. He's on YouTube. He has his own YouTube channel. You have the Kinder Rockets on YouTube. Do you have your own separate
I
YouTube?
do. I do have my own YouTube channel, which is kind of more of teacher videos, a lot of kind of some tutorials, things like that. And then I have my classroom YouTube channel for the Kinder Rockets, which is more about
That's
the
what I thought.
content for the students. And that Kinder Rocket World was just a great project we started last year with some friends of ours about creating some curriculum and videos that would be engaging for the kids. And so it was really cool. The whole point of that is, a lot of times we're going and having to pull down other people's videos, not always with permission, right? And so how can we give people some of these videos that allow them to kind of do what they want with them? So yeah, and there's one of the originals there going on a letter hunt, and that was the
Love that.
introduction to a seesaw, and so that's fun. It's always fun going back and looking who Jameson, little Jay there, who just received his third trimester kindergarten award a little while ago. So
I gotta know, is it hot inside the astronaut suit?
it's not too bad, and honestly, I wear it every day. I have four blue ones and two white ones, and I just wear it to school. It's not too bad. I definitely have went through a few on not Netflix, Amazon, before I found ones I like. But it just makes it fun for the kids. It makes it easy to wash, and don't worry after about germs. But did have a student. I normally don't wear my astronaut helmet. He did request, Mr. Cogswell, when are you going to wear your helmet for us? And I say, I got to prepare for that a little bit, buddy.
I love it. So, he has these really awesome websites that are available. He puts all this information out there for you. So check out Ben's links, and I mean, it's just so much information. And when you're done with all of that, you can actually go back into the archives for the district Edtech department and at Alisal, and he's got a ton of stuff there. But I mean, Ben, you're more crazy than I am. I mean,
Yeah, well, this one hasn't been updated. This one honestly hasn't been updated in about 6 months. So somebody was saying, I was like, I gotta update it, but I do my best. If I make a video, I just try to share it with other people. And if sometimes it's not the best video, but it can be something quick and easy. And that's one thing I do enjoy still. Is the coach part, working with teachers and being able to just help support other people in the ways that I can. So.
Yeah, well, thank you for everything you're putting out there. I know that teachers are tapping into it, and if I can help bring a certain level of awareness, that's awesome. Then every little bit helps. I do take these live streams and then turn them into podcasts as well, and I'll put that out there. So hopefully, we bring some new viewers to what you're trying to accomplish. But yeah, definitely keep me in the know, Ben. I think I probably should wrap this up because I could continue talking to you for a long time, but I'd rather that you go take care of your health a little bit today for us, and so you can return back to the classroom. Any parting words? Anything else you wanna let us know about? Anything coming up? Are you appearing anywhere? Anything?
Well, I'm doing a webinar with Seesaw tomorrow that you can register for, and probably the best way is look it up on Twitter. But other than that, my goal this summer was to kind of spend as much time with my family and really kind of recharge as possible. So right now, my summer's pretty clear, and I'm pretty excited about that because usually it's not very clear. And so I just look forward to, doing that. And if any questions, if you're a listener out there, you can go to the coachben.org website and you can find my email there. You can reach out to me on Twitter. My response time varies depending upon the time of the year, right? Because right now as if you're a teacher in the classroom, especially elementary school, everybody, but there's a lot going on, right? With cumes and report cards and, all that good stuff. So it's just really a pleasure to talk to you, Bobbie, just because we don't, now we just don't get to see people very often.
Yeah.
Finally starting to change, but it's great to connect and have a conversation with you. So thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with you.
Right back at you, Ben. All right. I'm going to take us out now, and thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the EDUlivestream show. Let's stay connected. You can follow us on Twitter at EDUlivestream. We're on Facebook and Instagram. And be sure to watch our live streaming shows on YouTube. If you want to join our next show or be a guest on our show, just visit our website at EDUlivestream.com or message us on Twitter at EDUlivestream. Please subscribe and leave a comment. We value you so much. Until next time, thanks for listening. Be kind and show your support for education.